How you doing, guys? Welcome back. It's LSP. Been a very long time since I've done a video, and I think the markets are getting a little bit testy now. Probably going to see a drop, so I wanted to jump on, talk about Bitcoin. We'll go over BNB as well, and I'll do XRP because I am keeping a close eye on XRP. So with all of that said, just going to get straight into the analysis. The narrative for me hasn't changed. Everything's exactly the same. All the levels that I've been, sort of talking about for the last year and a half are still valid. And then if we just quickly go over to BNB, oh, sorry, wrong chart. Quickly go over to BNB, we can see these levels down here, 186 and 148. Very confident that we're going to see these levels, but we'll start with Bitcoin. So you can see at the moment, the thing about Bitcoin is, it's been in this range for quite some time, and obviously we had a little pop here. It started to reverse a little bit, and I made a reference to this level, right? I did post this somewhere. I think it was in Discord, but I made a reference to this level, and I was saying, if price goes up and it hits this level, the idea is we need to see price go through this level, start to attack the 30k level, and then really go from there. And obviously we're not seeing anything like that. We're seeing the same rhetoric over and over and over again. We're seeing prices run and then a dump, prices run and then a dump, but the dumps are pretty aggressive, right? The cryptocurrency market is extremely illiquid, right? I can't stress this enough. I keep saying this and I cannot stress it enough. There is no liquidity within the cryptocurrency market, right? And as such, the volatility is increased 100-fold, right? Because when there's no liquidity, they have to engineer liquidity, right, to pull money out of the markets. So for example, if you're a miner and you're saying, all right, look, I've mined a bunch of Bitcoin at sort of, 25,700, just for argument's sake. Let's just say you do a full month at 25k, 26k, somewhere around there on average. And you're sitting on Bitcoin. First of all, you have to liquidate some of that Bitcoin for your ongoing costs, right? Because one of the mistakes that people make for some bizarre reason is they think that these huge mining corporations in massive mining farms, just mine Bitcoin and then just put it to one side and that's it. These not institutions, but these big players, these big miners, they have, outgoings. They've got overheads. They need to pay for this stuff, right? So obviously they have to liquidate Bitcoin, for this purpose. Now, obviously there are OTC sales, so they'll have some Bitcoin on hand. And you'll have larger players like Michael Saylor and some of the, some of these other players that will buy Bitcoin over the counter from mining companies, for said money, and this helps with ongoing costs. But ultimately, the miners want to make a profit as well. And if it's not always through OTC, they do want to liquidate some of those, Bitcoin through, through exchanges, through the markets and so on, right? And as such, they will have to engineer liquidity. Now, people often say, how do they engineer liquidity? Are they really that powerful? Can they engineer liquidity? Of course they can. At the end of the day, the rhetoric in the market is, and I'll give you a really good example with the ETF. ETF, spot this, spot that, spot the other. Loads and loads of applications have gone through. Yep, it's going to be approved. Oh, yeah, it's approved. Oh, no, we're going to have to wait 45 days, right? This is the type of stuff that happens, and you get little pops, everybody gets excited, and then it just drops again, right? That's engineering liquidity. Isn't it better to sell some mined Bitcoin, or even somebody who's holding Bitcoin, for example, and wants to, to start to liquidate a little bit because of pressures, because of things that are happening in the world, because of interest rates rising, mortgage defaults are coming, all of this stuff. They want to liquidate their Bitcoin. Isn't it better to do that at 28k than 25k? Of course, it goes without saying, right? So be mindful. Almost no liquidity within the cryptocurrency market, right? And as such, if we do get a drop, it's going to be pretty aggressive, right? That's what I believe. That's, I'm pretty confident that it's going to happen soon. And with all of that said, in terms of levels and everything that we're seeing, nothing's really changed, in terms of the levels. I still believe, if we just go to this chart, you can see, we are currently just sitting above an LP. It's already been tested once. We've come all the way back down. This is quite weak. Unless it responds from here and goes through 30k and starts to attack 32, we're going lower, and we're just going to continue to bleed. Now, Binance, on the other hand, Binance is very weak. We'll just look at this bear chart for a second. You can see there is an imbalance over here. There's absolutely no support whatsoever down here. We can see this clearly, on this chart. And the reason that this is here is because it makes it so much easier. Before, it was a timing, issue with this drop just here. If everybody remembers, the line was right here, and then on that day, bang. But it's also to reference and to help you visualize this drop off, right? That's going to happen pretty soon. We're very close to 200. I was saying we're going to see 200. Quote me. I still believe we are. I think we got as low as 203 on one of the feeds that I saw, or 204. And then I was little bit cocky. I posted a tweet basically saying, I'm just going to, sort of check mark this now and just say it's hit 200. But it's going to hit 200. Once it does, 200 psychologically is a pretty big level, for Binance in terms of support. If there's no buying there may be a small bounce, but ultimately, Binance has got a lot of problems. People don't realize how big the problems are that Binance have. And this is on the premise that everything's okay with Binance. Now let's assume that there's a few kinks. Let's say there's something not being done correctly. Maybe, there might be a little bit of fraud there. These are just pure speculation, pure speculation. And I'm just saying, as a hypothetical, let's say that Binance does indeed have, some skeletons in its closet, and they get either pushed onto the market, because ultimately, even if they do secret, or not secret, I guess it would be secret, proceedings and all of these types of things, ultimately, the news ends up getting released at some point because people manipulate the markets, and as such we're going to see a drop. So there's a lot going on. I don't believe for 1 second that the markets are bullish in any way, shape or form. We are going to see some serious defaults coming soon. Interest rates are going to continue to rise. Nothing has gone away. We are now in September, which is historically a terrible month for cryptocurrency and generally a terrible month period, right? So the expectation is downward movement, and I do believe we are going to see this 148 down here, and then we can kind of start to assess and see. There is a pretty decent level over here in terms of that 148 and slightly lower, where we should see some relief. So if it does drop aggressively, this is the most likely place it will stop. So if it just drops hard, this is the most likely place that it will stop, down here at 140. 148 to 152, right? So bear that in mind. If it just goes straight through there, I mean, we're down at 40. That is a horrible number to say, but we may see mass capitulation. If we see mass capitulation and panic, then, we're not in good shape. Now, if we just go over to XRP, I've got a level down here. I've just basically cleaned up this chart. 27, still believe 27 is going to get hit. There's not really much in the way of liquidity on the way down to support, XRP if it drops. Now, XRP is going to drop as a function of is a function of Bitcoin and the liquidity in the market. All of this nonsense about price going up and they won the case and it's not a security. Who cares? It's all nonsense. As far as XRP, having some validity and being around, yeah, sure, because obviously they're doing a lot of work with CBDCs, with central banks around the world, etc. Right? But everyone's still thinking in terms of, if I buy XRP at 49 and it goes to 140, I'm going to make X amount of money. Nobody's really, like 95%, 96% of people that are invested in any of these sort of tokens or coins are doing it because they want to make money. Yeah. Make no mistake about it. People talk about Bitcoin, for example, and say, it's the be all and end all and it's this and it's that and blah, 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 blah. But really they just want to hold Bitcoin so when it goes up, they can sell it because they're still attached to fiat currency. They're weak-minded. Yeah. And they want that fiat currency because they think it's going to buy them shiny things, But the whole point of Bitcoin is to basically be used as a medium of exchange. So one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin, one Satoshi is one Satoshi. It doesn't matter. There is no fiat value per se if you're looking at it from that point of view. It's the same with XRP. XRP as a token or as a coin is basically going to be used for certain things, but most people aren't looking at it like that. They're looking at it as, I want to purchase XRP because I want to make money. And as such, when the selling starts, they are going to liquidate. Bear this in mind. You're dealing with humans. You're dealing with fear. You're dealing with greed. Time and tested, yeah, and nothing's changed. It's exactly the same. History will repeat itself, and we are probably going to see 27, as the markets start to bleed and push. And even now, as I'm talking, we're at 40, 48. Now we're down at 47. I know it's only slightly under, but we're printing 47s now. BNB down at 208. This morning it was at 210, 211, then it dropped down to 209. Now we're at 208. Possibly we're going to, see 207, 206, 205 today, and start to drive towards that 200. So be mindful, be cautious. I know this is a long drawn out video. It's been a while since I've done a video, but I really wanted to kind of just come on, and as always, my intention is to just kind of keep people on an even keel, chill, be calm. I apologize. I'm really going to try to make these videos very concise and very specific. because I'm very mindful that, you know, sometimes sitting through these long boring videos of me just kind of rambling and the chart not really moving can be a bit of a challenge for some people. So I want to kind of maybe just do analysis at the beginning, make it really, really quick, you know, and if people want to stick around for, you know, the kind of the after bit, you know, then they can, but at least to get the information right at the beginning, and I don't waste people's time. So with all of that said, caution, caution, caution. Watch the markets, be mindful, set alerts if you can. I've got a lot of alerts set up. 210, sorry, I'll say that again. I've got a lot of alerts set up on BNB. 203, 201, 200, 190, 192, 190, 186, 185, 180. And the reason that I've got all of these all the way down to 148 and 145 is because as price is dropping, I'm going to get alerted, continuously as the markets are moving, and it kind of keeps you on that movement as opposed to me just kind of rocking up and prices down at, say 160 and I didn't know or I didn't see it. So with that said, I hope everyone's having a fantastic day, and I look forward to speaking to you in the next update. All the best. Take care.